the World War I in at least some circumstances. This apparently was such a popular idea that entire books have been written about the alleged accounts of angels that have been helping in this conflict. Kind of interesting that angels decided to show up then and not maybe any other time. I've heard of angels in the outfields, but I'm not sure about angels helping out in, I don't know, global conflicts. But hey, maybe you believe in angels and maybe you believe in some other stuff. If so, now's the time to call because the show is starting right now. Hello, everybody, and welcome back to another episode of Truth Wanted. I am your host, ObjectivelyDan, and this is the live call-in show that happens every single week, Fridays at 7 p.m. Central Time, where we talk to people about what they believe and why. And if you'd like to call us, you can do that at 512-991-9242, or you can call it to your computer at tiny.cc/call TW. Truth Wanted is a product of the Atheist Community of Austin, a 501c3 nonprofit organization dedicated to the promotion of atheism, critical thinking, secular humanism, and the separation of religion and government. And every single week, we always try to have a special guest. This week is no different. I say guest, but it is also fellow host of Truth Wanted, John, the Skeptick. John, what's going on?
I don't feel that special. No,
you are special. It's special because you and I have not hosted Truth Wanted in a long time together.
I was really excited when this opportunity came up. I was like, I want to be on with Dan. I haven't spoken to him in years.
Very funny because earlier this week, we have group chats. Of course, we try to plan and organize all of our shows. And I've been so busy this week, I was not being very responsive to the group chat. And John thought he had to cover for me. Turns out, no, I was still available. So now it's John and me together, which is just fine. I love working with John.
I love that, yeah.
John's awesome guy. And we're going to be doing the show together today. So
I feel like that opener that you just did was a little dig at the British as well. Just because
I did think it specifically because of your heritage.
There you go.
Please don't make any mistakes. I was discriminating against you.
That's fine.
In that pick. But yeah, no, this is something I recently found. I showed this to Kelly. This guy who like archived, like there's a whole website. I think it's called The Archive. I can't remember the domain. I have to pull it up. Where it's just like 500 Wikipedia articles of just weird stuff, which is just my favorite. Some of it's like, true crime stuff, which, everybody likes that. But then it's just weird stuff. Like, hey, apparently like legit, a lot of people really think like angels were out there just killing Germans, I guess. Which I don't know what God has against the Germans, but that in World War I, the angels had some bones to pick and were fighting alongside the British on the battlefield, according to some people. So
I feel like the British need all the help they can get, though, and I can say that because I am one. So. Well, listen, it's your status at this point is questionable because you are in the United States, and I think. Once an American, always an American, John. Am I right? I haven't got a permanent green card yet, so I'm very much floating.
You know what? The folks on the Mayflower didn't have a green card either. So
you know what?
Take that as you will.
Fine. I'm just gonna hide in a box until someone catches me and either says you can stay or no. Probably best if you leave.
Yeah. Man, we were having a whole conversation about all that. I don't know if we want to get into that again today, but our original idea for the poll question, which did not go through right now, which is it still worth it to live in America? Recently, I did this thing yesterday, John. I responded to a video about a worship song that was created about the former president, like a legit Christian worship song called "He's the Chosen One."
Yeah, a friend of mine was telling me about it because her mum, my friend is religious, but like questionable religious, but her mum is like super in it, and she's like, my mum's been playing this song and singing and dancing to it.
At first I thought it couldn't be real, but it is real, and that's what scares me the most. What's going on, huh? I know we've been all asking this for like a decade now, but like. Is it going to get better? That's what I want to know, John. Is it going to get better?
I feel like all bouncy balls bounce back, right? Things go down, but they do bounce back up again when they're bouncy. So
yeah, if they're bouncy. Are we bouncy, John, or are we flat? Is the air still in this basketball we call a nation? Is the air still filled?
Look, I live here now. You folks are letting anybody in. So,
well,
the more folks like me coming in with their non-religion, just ruining everything for everyone, we'll get it to bounce back.
Yeah. Everyone's constantly complaining about the British immigrants in this country ruining religion. I think I see that on Fox News every night. I think it's a very popular headline.
In my hometown, that is the truth.
You know what? And that's true. Yeah. And there's a lot of things to talk about there, but let's get to our question of the week. Specifically, we want the truth, right? That's our segment that we do every week where we ask you a question or a prompt and we want to read our top 3 answers to you. Last week we were asking, what's a hill you're willing to die on? And here are some of our favorite answers. Number 3 comes from Phil Honig, who says, a hill I'm willing to die on. Octopuses is an acceptable plural for octopus or octopodes if you want to be fancy. Octopi is just wrong. That is a crazy idea. I'm sorry, that is insane. Octopi just sounds right to me, right? I'm not trying to be
I think you want to just add as many S's on the end of it. So octopuses is.
Octopuses. I mean, I'm willing if it's a joke. If you're saying, "Ha, look at all those octopuses," that's fine.
Yeah.
But serious. If I was to write a paper, John, I would say octopi.
Able to do that. No, because I would be fearful of getting it wrong. So if you put in the comedy answer, you can't be wrong.
Yeah. I guess so. That's yeah. All right. Okay, that's fair. Let's go to our next one here. Number 2 comes from Hell's Bells, who said, "A hill that I'm willing to die on. The Matrix is not as deep as you think it is." Okay. All right. Interesting take.
Are we talking the movie or the Matrix?
I think it has to be the movie, right?
Some people think that we live in the Matrix.
Talking about unless you're talking about Andrew Tate.
I think there you go. Yeah.
I think it's, people have said that the Matrix is actually an allegory about being trans. Have you heard this?
Yes, that's come up.
Yeah, the Wachowski siblings, right? Kind of coded this. I don't know if they've actually confirmed that, but I've heard that as an idea, which is very interesting. So,
but do you like the Matrix movies?
I like the Matrix movies. I liked Matrix 2. Matrix 2. Let me tell you about Matrix 2. They got the twins and they're fighting on top of that highway scene. That was the coolest thing ever when I was a kid. I loved that. I watched that movie probably 5 or 6 times just for that highway scene. They built a whole mile of highway. Anyway, I could talk about that all day.
We're very different. The movie that I've watched with the same scene over and over is the T-Rex chase in Jurassic Park.
Yeah, that one's also pretty good. That was also pretty good. Matrix 3 sucks though. It's not very good.
Nobody talks about that one, right?
No, because Neo is basically Jesus. It's really boring.
Yeah.
And kind of stupid. But anyway, that's enough about the Matrix critique. Thank you for joining us for Matrix Critique Corner with Dan and John. Now let's get to our number 1. It's Master of Darkness, who says, the hill I'm willing to die on, George Clooney was the best Batman. Is an interesting take. Interesting take. John, what do you think?
Yeah, because I'm slightly biased because I live in a place in Kentucky where George Clooney's parents are very close to me.
Are you serious?
Yeah, I live in the neighboring town to where his parents live.
Okay, well, so, you're not allowed to answer this question.
No, I'm not. No, there you go.
Here's the thing. Here's a hot take I have. If we're talking hot takes, I liked Robert Pattinson as Batman. I thought it was cool.
Him, but I can imagine he was good.
I liked it.
Yeah.
I don't know. It's bad. I like the Nolan movies too. Where is she? Rachel. That whole the Christian Bale. That's great. I like that too. I don't know. All Batmans are valid in my eyes.
Yeah, they are. That's true. They are. Have they done a Batman multiverse movie yet? They need to.
Well, they did the Superman crossover thing.
Oh, did
I never
they?
watched it though.
No.
I think. I'm not. I don't know.
I don't know if I shouldn't really show logos, but I'm wearing the other one, not the Superman Batman one. I'm more team the other one.
Oh, yeah. I think you're allowed to say the words Marvel, John. I don't think the internet can stop you.
What if I'm sponsored by them? No,
oh no. Okay. Well,
no,
okay. There.
Imagine that. I'm not.
All right.
But yeah, no, I'm Team Marvel. All
right. Well, there you go.
Yeah.
That's all well and good. I'm glad you guys all have your hills to die on. So thank you so much for giving your answers for that. The prompt this week though is going to be name a time autocorrect screwed you over. Which you already have an answer. You already gave your answer to this, John.
Well, and I'm going to change it slightly because like you get the guest host gets given the question, you get to answer it. And I was thinking, I couldn't ducking think of anything.
See, look how natural he is with it, folks. Talented man. Comedy. Comedy gold.
Absolutely not.
Love it. No, I mean, I feel like that's gonna be the top comment. So I'm glad you said it because that's gotta be a pretty popular one. If you were playing Family Feud, I would guess that. And I think that'd be on the board. So give us your original takes, guys. What's your best autocorrect moments? I couldn't really think of any recently. But I want to hear your guys's I feel
like though you're very thorough when it comes to texting, so you go, autocorrect got me.
We're in
I'm lying. I'm lying. I was just trying to talk about, but never mind.
You're full of it. You're full of it. Okay, that's not true.
Duckingham.
My fiance always talks to me about like, because she will send me really, and I love that she does this. She'll send lots of long messages to me because it tells me she cares. You know, she wants to talk to me and stuff. And then she's like, "You sometimes only respond just like a few sentences." It's like, yeah, it's true. I'm not very good at responding fast.
But that's called like, isn't that called like blue walling or something? When you just get like a
walling.
Someone texts you over and you're just getting that and just like, yes.
No, it's on like I don't know, I'm probably busy or I'm not thinking about it, or I'm just like I prefer speaking. I prefer the spoken word over written stuff. That's why I'm a live streaming YouTube person. Okay. So
eventually me and my wife, when we were long distance, we text each other like paragraphs and paragraphs. We've been married for 3 years. We live together now. We just send each other memes. That's how we communicate.
If I have something really long to say, I will do it through voice clips on like Messenger or whatever, right? So that's kind of my preferred way of doing things. But anyway, I feel like I was going to ask you something for the show here, John, and I kind of forgot what I was going to ask you. But what's been going on with you? What's happening? What's going on?
My life has stopped because I now have. I was halfway involved with bringing another heathen into the world. So we have a little atheist baby that is just crawling around. Like cursing. You know.
How does it feel? How does it feel to be happy Father's Day to our upcoming fathers? Upcoming fathers. Happy upcoming Father's Day. You are now a father. You're not upcoming, but anyway.
I've made it. It's been a rough ride. I asked for things to not be done with the birth of my new son, which has caused a lot of trouble in my personal life with people shunning me from groups. But being a father is honestly the best thing. And being a father to a stepkid and a 9-month-old baby who, the baby, he hasn't got a clue what's going on, but my 10-year-old stepkid asks so many questions about belief structures and epistemology. She is one smart kid, and I get my conversation, which I would miss out otherwise because I've got a baby in the house and I don't get any other conversation with my 10-year-old stepchild. So it's being a father is the best thing. And I get to, talk about non-belief and all that stuff.
That's great.
So I'm loving it, but I am exhausted.
Yeah. I bet you are.
It is true. You don't get sleep.
Yeah. I don't plan on having kids anytime soon. If ever, we'll put a pin in that. But I respect obviously being a parent and stuff and doing all that because like I'm already so busy now with my life these days, and I have this conversation with my fiance all the time. We're like, what if we had a child? That's crazy. Like I don't know. We're in such different stages. But I remember what I was going to say, John. Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
No.
Finish your thought. Finish your beautiful thought.
We were like, do we want to have a kids? Can we do this right now? And the more we thought about it, the more we were like, this is never going to happen. So we just have to do it. That's the best. That's my only advice.
It goes.
Sort of thing. And then once you've done what you need to do, fellas, book a vasectomy. That's what I've done.
Finds a way.
Yeah, it does. Another Jurassic Park quote.
There you go. Jurassic Park's great. I love Jurassic Park.
It is. It's one of my favorite movies.
Yeah. Too bad the new ones weren't as good. But anyway,
we're
just talking movies today.
Why not?
We should make this a little movie day.
I don't want you to forget what you were going to ask me, though.
Okay, well, so it wasn't what I was going to ask you. It was something I want to remind for both of us because we have a new feature, new feature premiering right here on Truth Wanted. And I'm going to show you on the screen right now. Check it out. I got Blind Limey who gave $10, who said, 2 of my favorite blokes. hoping you get some juicy calls. Come on, theists, we want to get to know you. That's right, folks. We're putting some comments on the screen. Woo,
Wait,
it's
what?
2024. Welcome to the future. And yeah, so if I see some funny comments, I might just put them on the screen, or the crew might put them on the screen, or John might say, hey, put that comment on the screen, and then I'll do it via proxy through John.
Sure.
Yeah, well, we're doing that now. So super chats we will be putting on the screen, and for all other stuff, if it's funny enough, I might put it up there. So there you go. That's it. That's what I wanted to say.
Tell us if angels are real or whatever.
Are angels real? Did you, when you were a kid, you believed in angels? Yeah.
No. I believed in spirit guides, which is a different thing.
Yeah.
That's what I grew up learning about. So,
I was talking yesterday about spirit science on Zadanza live Thursday nights at 9 p.m. Central. I feel like I've been plugging Zadanza a lot lately, but it is relevant because part of spirit science's whole lore. You familiar with spirit science YouTube channel?
No idea. No idea.
Just an old school YouTube channel that talks a lot about it's just every new age idea ever, just in one YouTube channel. That's pretty much what it is.
Okay.
They're talking about the history of humanity, of course, and one of the sources they cited was this English guy who claimed he could, be in contact with the dead, specifically with the Egyptian god Thoth, who told him all of these stories about the origins of humanity. So that's kind of like talking to angels, I guess. I don't know. That's where my brain was going. Yeah. And channeling, and also because you have a background with the channeling arts, as it were.
Yeah, right. No, I wanted to, and that's where it all fell apart.
When
I was a very young child, I'd woken up and I'd stepped out of my bedroom at the time. It was actually my grandmother's house, and I believed I saw a man walk through the door. Not through the doorway, but through the actual physical door. And it terrified me. And I ran downstairs and I told my mum and my gran about it, because that's who I lived with at the time. And a few years later, there was a picture, one of these, you get these mediums that draw art and they channel who it is that's there, and they do some artwork and show you the picture of the dead person that they've just been talking to. And this woman convinced my mother that this was her spirit guide, and a few years after I'd had this experience, my mum showed me this picture, and it was the same face as the thing, or what I believed was the same face.
Sure,
because your brain fills in gaps. But so this picture terrified me for years. She framed it and put it up on the wall of her spirit guide, which was the man that walked through a door to terrify me when I was a child, just there in the living room. I had to live with that. I just wanted to get that story off my chest.
Did he become like your guardian angel? Is that
her guardian angel? Sorry,
her guardian angel.
I don't know who my spirit guide was.
But does he not become yours via proxy? How does that system work?
I don't know.
Yeah.
And I never will now.
It's an interesting idea, guardian angels, because it's like you just get. Do they get assigned multiple roles? Do they have multiple clientele, or is it just one guy?
I guess it would have to just be one, because how could your spirit guide be protecting you as a spirit form? Because they're almost like human in spectral form, right? They're not like this huge entity that floats and can go anywhere. So I'd just presume that they just sit there. You're sleeping, they're sitting there just reading.
You're doing your taxes and they're watching that. It's just everything. Like, I don't know.
The spirit guide's there for everything, right? So you're sleeping and this spirit guide is, I've got nothing to do for the next 8 hours. So what do I do? Stand here and watch you? I don't suppose spirit guides sleep, because they're dead.
Yeah, it's true. So,
anyway, I don't know where that was going.
Because also, again, apparently angels can project entire nations in war, I guess, is what we started this show with.
So was that one, or was that multiple?
It's multiple accounts of multiple angels Allegedly by multiple people witnessing it, but there's a lot of fictional stories.
But did they see the same one, or did they all see completely different?
So that's part of the problem. So like some of them say, like I was saying, it was like they saw them using like medieval weaponry and stuff. Right. And some of them like didn't see that at all. They like saw some other stuff. But then also there's people alleging that how many people have actually seen this is even up in the air, because there's like, you know, people writing fictionalized accounts of other people's accounts. So it's like, it's not even, you know, we don't even know how many people are legit with this.
It's like when the 500 people saw.
Yeah, exactly. 500 people saw Jesus. Yeah, we're not going to tell you who, but there was definitely at least 500 of them.
Yeah, right. And it's funny that as well. I would assume that angels can transcend time as well, like all of the spiritual, spectral, like supernatural stuff. They're outside of all this stuff. So why did they only have medieval bows? Why didn't you see any there with like laser guns?
Or with future weapons for the time.
Yeah. If like laser guns would be future weapons in World War I.
Okay, yes, that's true. But I'm just picturing like it's 1914 and an angel shows up with like an M16 or like an AR-15. The vibe would change significantly.
Right.
I feel
or a Star Trek like little phaser or something, you know.
Yeah. I don't know.
Yeah.
Don't know. Doesn't really make a lot of sense, does it, John?
No, it doesn't. No, I think we're thinking too much about this.
I think we're thinking too much about it. But I've met people who believe they've talked to angels or who have had some sort of relationship with angels. I've definitely met people who said they have guardian angels.
Right.
And even when I was a kid, I don't know. Angels were always extremely confusing to me because there's just a lot of logistics involved, I guess, that I just don't know how it happens. But hey, maybe one of you folks out there have stories about angels. I'd be curious if you did. You know, hey, that's what this show's all about, right, John?
Exactly. So that's why we're here.
Yeah. Speaking of why we're here, I think we should talk to some callers today. What do you say?
Yeah,
okay. Let's do it. Before we get to that, though, we need to thank the patron of the week, because every single week we're always giving a shout out to the folks who donate on that Patreon. That money doesn't go to me. That money doesn't go to John. That money goes to the Atheist Community of Austin. And it tells the show that, hey, this is a show that's worth supporting. So this week's patron of the week is going to be Jonathan Hall. Thank you so much, Jonathan Hall. And thank you to everybody that donates at tiny.cc/Patreon TW. You guys rock. Okay. And with that out of the way, ready to get to some questions?
I cannot wait.
I need to remind folks too, you know, because we haven't done this really in a long time, but you know, Kelly is our backup host today and he's still rocking with us. If you have a question for Kelly too, we can pipe Kelly in specifically and get him in on it. Cause I want to, so a 3-person action on Truth Wanted. It's a rare sight, but it's something we talk about.
And I feel like we need to get Kelly on at some point because his tie today is outstanding.
Kelly's rocking a really good tie today.
It's perfect for where we are at the moment. I
agree. Yeah. It is a very good tie. So maybe we'll get to that. But let's get to our first caller here. We have Elaine, who's calling in from Kentucky. Elaine, you are live on Truth Wanted. What's going on?
Hey, guys. So I have a couple quick questions. First one's a thought experiment. So if angels were real, what do you think they would look like? Do you think they would look like humans, or do you think they would look like, you know, the biblical definition of an angel, like all those eyes and stuff?
Yeah. This is another thing that's very confusing because, like, okay, getting to some nerd stuff for a second here. There's different words that are used for angels in the Bible that don't all describe the same thing. So obviously when we talk about like the Nephilim, for example, that's like a completely different thing from like the New Testament angels who appear to be just like regular dudes. But then also, as you're talking about the multi-eyed thing, I believe that's Ezekiel's description of an angel is like, you know, where they have all the eyes and there's the crazy wings and stuff. There's also a prophecy in the book of Daniel that talks about these different kinds of creatures. So there's never really been like one depiction of these things. It kind of doesn't make sense. It seems like everybody's really okay with just like the people looking ones because I don't know, maybe that's more comfortable. Yeah, I don't know. That's another good question to ask. Cause like, what would it even look like? Is it supposed to be a person. I don't know. John, what do you think?
So I've actually seen an angel, but a pretend one in the Book of Mormon musical. And
okay.
Very blonde, big wings. I personally don't believe in the Bible, so I would never accept what the description in there is. I feel like we can make up our own versions of angels here on Truth Wanted. Mine would be, because you feel like angels are there to try and earn their wings to progress into heaven, right? Let's just say,
is that real? Is that a thing,
maybe,
or is that just like
seen the Mick Dundee film, or where he's trying to earn his wings or something?
I think that's in All Dogs Go to Heaven. I'm pretty sure that's the plot of that movie.
Well, let's just go with it.
It's just a movie day today.
Yeah, right. So in my head, then, an angel is like a balding man who's just had a rough life, but he's not done anything bad enough to not get into heaven, but he wants to earn his wings, and he's like smoking something. It's like, I don't even know how to earn my wings, man. I feel like that's what an angel for me would look like. String vest. Oh man, what a hard life.
Oh man, Elaine, what do you think?
For me, I would hope that an angel looks like what people think devils look like, because I want people to like look at the ridiculousness of what they think things are. But like, to me, in my brain, I would love for angels, if they existed, to look like those hideous demons.
Yeah. Yes, actually, that would be cool, like the eyeball thing, and
Yeah. So my second question, I have, I live in the Bible Belt in Kentucky, so I have a lot of friends and family who believe in angels. So like, I have friends and family who believe, this angel, there had to have been an angel who saved me from this car wreck. Like, no one heard from him again, so he had to be an angel. And then I've got family members who are like, my angels were protecting me because they gave me a good parking spot. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I don't know how to respond to that kind of stuff. Like, what do you guys do or say to that kind of thing? Or like, what would you say?
If it were me, I had something really awkward happen where, like, I had a discussion with a coworker the other day, where they were like, I think vaccines kind of messed up my kid, basically, is what he was saying. Like, I think the vaccines, and it's one of those, I see that in a similar vein, where it's like, okay, I want to be like kind of professional because it's somebody I work with, but also I vehemently disagree with this position, right? Angels is a little bit more kind of out there, but like, I think the best way to approach situations like this is just genuinely asking questions in just not an interrogative way, but an not interrogative, in a sort of like an informative way. Like, you think an angel like helped you? Like, why do you think it was an angel that helped you? Or what was it about that experience that led you to believe that angels, it doesn't have to be so formal, but like, I just think even asking questions and letting people think about it is probably more than what most people would do. Because most people, when they hear that, they're like, oh, okay, that's weird. And they just move on. They don't really talk about it. Just talking about it, I think, really will kind of open people's eyes. But you can't, lead a horse to water, right? Can't make them drink it. You don't try to be like, angels aren't real and you should stop believing in them, right? Because that's not going to help either. I think the best you could do is just give them a space to let themselves ask questions about a situation like that. And I don't know, you might be surprised, but I don't know. That's my take. What do you think, John?
I'm with you there, Dan, but I think you could almost take it a slightly different way and just say it depends completely on the situation and how well you know the person. If you have a good relationship with them, then bring up some fun experience. You gave us one when you came on about what angels would look like. Why not ask them, what would happen if we took the angel out of the equation? How would you then explain it? What could be another way of explaining this? And that is often quite a good way to make people think, actually, it could have been that I just got lucky and found a parking spot that was close to the store I wanted to go in. So, that's another good way of approaching it. But I mean, it all depends, because if it's just a random person coming up to you, I would go, oh, cool, and then be off going to get some chocolate.
Yeah, that's true. You don't want to like, there's definitely an element there. But like, what would a car accident look like where an angel didn't help, right? Or can people survive car accidents without the help of angels? And if they can, how do we know that an angel was there. I don't know. There's just ways that you can look at it and not be too confrontational, too nasty, but just like curious. Like I think people would be more responsive to that. But I don't know, Elaine, that's our takes. What do you think?
Yeah, I think that's excellent. That's an excellent advice, because honestly, I have been so stuck in a way to respond to these people. And usually I just like laugh it off or like, change the subject. But I think that's an excellent point to start getting people to ask, or start asking questions, getting people to think, because I don't know. I feel so awkward. It's mainly family members that I've had dealt with this. So obviously I don't want to be confrontational. I don't want to say, well, you're wrong.
There is a cool way of using like a...
They're great.
Yeah, and there's a cool way of using like a scale as well, of how confident they are that it was this that explains it. So give them like a scale of 1 to 10 or 1 to 100 of how confident they are that it was an angel that stepped in this situation. And rarely will you get 100 or 10, depending on the scale. You'll quite often get like I'm about 90%. Well, yeah. but then in those instances, if they do say 100 or the full amount, say, well, what would it take to bring that down to a 90 or an 80 or and that's just another good way of just making them think, okay, that it's just fun thought experiments. So that might be a good route to try as well.
I love that. Thank you guys so much.
Yeah, of course. Anything else on that, Elaine?
No, I think that's good. I think that's all I got on the topic of angels.
All right, sounds good. Well, if you have your friends want to talk to us as well on this show, that's another option that I would suggest to. And I would say that to anybody. Hey, if you don't want to talk to them, just make us do it. We'll do it every week. So that's that's another thing to consider. But I will say this. One of a very popular point of my journey and people talk about is I had a conversation with a guy called Anthony Magnabosco several years ago when I was a college student, and I had that conversation for like 30 minutes with him on the street, and he asked me questions that I think are great examples of what you can ask with people, because the conversation I had is just not a conversation you have with people every day. And he asked me stuff that some people might be uncomfortable with asking. And I think, Elaine, if you ask some of these questions, you're probably doing that person a bigger favor than you might think. You don't have to completely change their mind, but just giving them a space to explore some of those thoughts. You may be giving them something that nobody else has actually ever given them the chance to do. So I would encourage you as an incentive to even ask these questions, more so than just, for your own awkward avoidance, but rather to engage in the topic and, explore that. But anyway, Elaine, thanks so much for calling.
Yeah.
And hope that was good takes, good advice, I guess, on our part, as people who talk to people about these things. I don't know. I feel so pretentious when you put it that way. I don't like that. I don't know. John, what'd you think about that call?
Great. I mean, I just to again expand on what you just said, I would definitely recommend checking out Anthony Magnabosco's stuff, because that's kind of one of the places that I started as well. Even though I was a non-believer at the time, just how to have the conversations. Some of his stuff is fantastic for just like giving you the right direction to head in. So
yeah, I think people get caught up with it and thinking like, oh, I don't know, like. I think people are looking for like, oh, what's a good like gotcha question? I think that's what people are interested in. It's like it's not helpful for you or for the other person at that point.
I think as well, there's a lot of people who think that you have to argue everything, and you don't have to argue. You just have a conversation with people and just find out where they stand. They'll hopefully ask where you stand, and you can just find a common ground and just some pushback, but in a respectful and calm way.
And you don't even have to say, hey, I don't believe in any of this at all. Just asking questions about another person's experience and how they interpret it is still a good way to do it, I think. But anyway, on that, let's go ahead and move on to our next thing. Before we do that, though, I'll go ahead and get some brief announcements out of the way. It is time for our annual Back Cruise fundraiser. So if you want to come join us on the Back Cruise, it's August 24th. We have Forrest, Valkai, J. Mike, Secular Rarity, Jimmy Jr., and hey, I'm going to be there as well. So go get your tickets at tiny.cc/backcruise. I still need to get mine. Hopefully that's been done or something. I don't know what's going on there.
You don't get them? You just don't get them like automatically because you're supposed to be there?
Well, I don't know what the process is. I think we're trying to, I need to figure that out because I definitely want to be there. I was not able to attend last year because I was in Canada at the time.
Oh.
So I want to be able to go this year because I feel like if last year was really good, I missed out on it.
I've moved to this country. I want to experience all these things. I desperately want to go, but I'm up in Kentucky. I don't know how easy it's going to be to get down there.
Everybody in the comments, tell John to come. Pressure him, please. Tell him, John.
I will cave.
Say, leave that kid at home. He can fend for himself.
He pretty much can.
For a week or two at least.
Yeah.
That's anyway. Also,
I'm not worried about my child. I'm more worried about my wife fending for herself.
yeah. That's another thing to consider. Also, real quick, you can become a channel member if you click the join button below the video. That gives you access to special chat emojis and early access to YouTube shorts and clips. And also, I'm having another window up here to seeing the chat as well. So if I see any fun stuff, I might put it on the screen here. But for now, let's go ahead and take another caller. We've got Billy Pilgrim calling in from Texas. Billy, you are live on Truth Wanted. What's going on?
Hey guys, Dan, my favorite ACA channel, and John, my favorite floating circle.
Oh, stop it, you.
Nice.
Good? Everybody okay there?
We're good, Billy. If you could get a little bit closer to your phone, that'd be awesome because you're a little bit quiet. But otherwise, we're good. How can we help you today?
Is that clearer?
That's much better. Thank you, Billy. What's going on?
Okay. Thank you. Well, I wanted to talk about the cryptid escalator.
The cryptid escalator. Wait a minute. Hold on. What?
Every region has its reports of crazy stuff.
Yep.
Crazy stuff. I'm a lifelong Texas resident, and we have, you probably never heard of the Panther Man from the De Leon River area, or you've probably never heard of the Lake Worth Monster near Fort Worth.
I do know about the Lake Worth Monster. I have heard of this one. Yeah. But not Panther Man. Every state has their own little man. They got a Mothman. They got a Gator Man. Yeah, there's a lot of mans. What's up with that? Anyway, Batman.
I don't know. What is it? The skunk, whatever it is in Florida. So until these cryptids get press, it's just a neighborhood rumor. You know what I mean?
Sure.
It's just
yeah.
Somebody heard something or saw something. But once they get some press, then people can write books about them and make money.
True. It's true. That is a market to be had. Absolutely. Yeah.
Well, I'm just tell you about the Lake Worth Monster.
Oh, go on. Go on.
Lake Worth is there's two things about the Lake Worth Monster. The one you would know about is in the early 70s. That's called the Goat Man.
Yep, I know about Goat Man because here's why I know about Goat Man, because obviously I'm also a Texan, Billy, and I was in Boy Scouts, and one of my earliest Boy Scout experiences was at Camp Tahoya, and at Camp Tahoya, I was scared of the fucking Goat Man. I remember this shit. It was terrifying because they had a picture too that they showed me, and in retrospect, it's just a guy next to a cornfield with a goat mask on. But when I was like in first grade or whatever, that scared the absolute crap out of me. It was freaking me out. But anyway, yeah, Goat Man lives in my brain as a traumatic monster memory.
There's a Goat Man story in Kentucky as well because Oh, are you still there? Sorry, Billy. I was going to tell you about my.
But please go ahead. I'm sorry.
I've just only because the name of the Goat Man monster in Kentucky is hilarious. He's known as the Pope Lick Monster.
Pope Lick Monster?
Yeah, and he's one of these half man, half goat cryptids.
Okay, that's quite a name. I'm sure there's some weird reason for that.
Yeah, we don't need to get into it, but there you go.
Sure.
I'm having some trouble visualizing that, but please continue.
Yeah, I don't think I need to. That's enough.
Well, let me tell you the rest of the Lake Worth monster story.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Texas has no natural lakes, if you don't count Caddo Lake. Lake Worth was the original man-made lake, built in 1913, filled in by 1914. There was what was then called the Lake Worth monster, which was a contraption of inner tubes and canvas that was towed at night by a rowboat. That's the original.
Stop. Really? Wait, that's the story behind that? That's awesome.
Which practically nobody knows. My grandfather told me that story because he'd been here all his life. You know, that happened in 1914, 1915. That's the original Lake Worth monster. And then we have the Goat Man. So anyway, my point is every locale has its, you know, have you seen the Mystery Science Theater? Every nation has its monster. Surely you know that song.
No, I'm not a big Mystery Science Theater guy. I've never really watched the show, to be honest. But okay, yeah, it is funny how different regions kind of have their own little monster stories, huh? It is weird how that happens.
Yeah. Well, that's all I had. And unless these cryptids unless they can get a journalist to write a story about it, they just kind of fade.
Yeah.
Wow.
But if you've
you know what's funny? I'm going to I just looked up the Lake Worth monster of Wikipedia page, and on the sea also there's the Pope Lick monster right there for you. So maybe they're connected, maybe they're friends. You know,
I feel like all cryptids like get together at Halloween.
There could be an underground channel that lets them get together and have sex or something. Who knows?
Well, where else are the cryptids going to come from? Of course, that's what they do.
Well, yeah, that's a possibility, I guess, as well. A lot of people ask me what's my favorite cryptid, and the answer I always give to this is Makole Mbembe, which is, of course, the mythical, basically dinosaur that lives in Africa. You know about this, Sean?
No.
Yeah, well, it's supposed to be a monster that basically is described as like a brontosaurus, you know, and so creationists have taken this legend. I think it's in the Congo, and the creationists have taken this legend very seriously, and there's been at least one, if not, I think 2 expeditions by creationists to try to find this monster because they think, if they find it, then it's a dinosaur, and that proves that dinosaurs are closer to people. So that's worth taking a trip to Africa to find a mythical monster, I guess, which is awesome. I love that for them.
I've been to Kenya. I didn't see any monsters.
No.
Take advantage of American tourists.
Yeah. The only monster was man.
There you go.
If you think about it. So that's a more cerebral answer. But anyway, Billy, thank you for reminding me about the Goat Man and all the traumatic memories associated with that. So that's really cool. I'm glad your grandfather could also share some fun stories about that. But we'll go ahead and let you go tonight. Thanks again for calling in. Yeah, Goat Man.
Gosh. Pope Lick monster. Pope Lick.
Pope Lick. It is called. I'm seeing this here. It is the Pope Lick monster.
Listen, there are a ton of licks in Kentucky. I don't know if they've made licks in other states, but there's a lick almost everywhere.
I don't even know what do you even mean when you say lick? I don't even know what you're talking about.
Salt licks.
Oh, salt licks.
Yeah, but they're
okay.
called licks. But I do think there's a place called.
This says there's a place called Pope Lick Creek.
There you go.
So that's where
I'm sure there's also a beaver lick in Kentucky.
Look at this. Other stories claim the monster jumps down from the trestle onto the roofs of cars passing beneath it. Yet other legends tell that it attacks its victims with a blood-stained axe, and that the very sight of the creature is so unsettling that those who see it while walking across high trestle are driven to leap off. Ooh.
Where do they get the axe from?
I know.
Well, maybe that's in the underground tunnels where they all like meet up and have sex and then pass off their weapons, and that was genius. That is good.
Yeah, I saw a video one time on YouTube of like the dumbest cryptids, and it's so there's some really dumb ones. It's awesome how stupid some of these legends are. I don't know, it's great. I find it, I just find it great, but you know, that's not everybody's cup of tea. But hey, cryptids, what can you do?
Yeah, I think my favorite would be a seahorse, and the male gives birth to the. Oh no, that's a real. Never mind. No.
Oh yeah, I have a person who is related to my family that I found out fairly recently is very much into Bigfoot. Wow. And who might watch the show sometime. So if you're watching, they know who I'm talking about. And yeah, I don't think it's real, but you know.
How long have they been searching for Bigfoot, and have they got any evidence?
I think their search for Bigfoot is just typing in Bigfoot on YouTube. I think that's what that
just seeing what we found this week.
But I know for a fact that they've at least talked to some people about going on a trek to find Bigfoot, which is that's the thing. People do that.
Just head down to Texas and you'll find a 6'5" fella with big feet. 6'5", right?
That's true. That's what people say about me. But I don't come up blurry on cameras, so I'm probably real.
Well, yeah, that's fair. Yeah,
I think. Okay, real quickly, if you go to atheist-community.org, there are printable flyers that you can put in community bulletin boards, of course, with people's permission and stuff, and just like stuff you can pass out for folks if you want more folks to call into the show. And of course, you can email the show. It's truth@atheist-community.org, or go to tv@atheist-community.org if you want to email the ACA in general. And of course, atheist-community.org has all of our information on there. Gotta get that out of the way before we take our next caller. John, you ready?
No. Yes.
Oh, okay. Oh well, I guess if you're not ready, we can wait.
No, I am. I am.
Okay. All right, let's do it. We got Allison. Allison is calling in from Missouri. Allison, you are live on Truth Wanted. What's going on?
Hello. I'm just calling because I watch a lot of the shows, and people in chat were telling me to call about an experience I had that I know wasn't paranormal, but at the time I thought it was, and I still can't explain it.
Okay. All right. Lay it on us. Let's go.
Okay. So when I was a teenager, I was sitting on a trampoline with some friends. And it was we lived out in the woods, so we were it was all woods all around us. And we saw this figure, had to be at least 9 feet tall, step out of the tree line, stand there and look at us for a while, then turn around and walk back in the tree line. And it was too lengthy to be a bear, but it was too tall to be anything else. And it fit what I had in the idea of my head at the time of a werewolf. But I know that's not what it was, and I have no idea what that could have been.
Slender Man is my guess, right?
Man on stilts. I've got some stilts, and when I wear them, I am 9 feet tall. No lie.
I forgot that you can do that.
Yeah,
you're a man of many talents, John. Well, that's crazy. Anyway, sorry, Allison, go ahead.
So you think it was? So you think it was someone just in the woods messing with us?
I mean, not being there for the experience is it's difficult to say what All we can go on is what you tell us, but. If it wasn't a werewolf and it wasn't a giant bear, what could it have been? What could be some other just plausible explanations? You know, you're in the woods, you're hanging out with your friends. Did other people know about it? Did they think, I know what I'm going to do. I'm going to walk on some stilts and freak these people out. Or, you know, when folks get together, they maybe party in some ways, and, you know, they maybe try some things, and that can alter brain chemistry and stuff. And so you start maybe filling gaps and seeing what could just be a tree moving as your brain says that's the shadow of a being that's standing there trying to eat us or something. You know, what could have been just one plausible explanation that you can come up with right now, seeing as you were there at the time?
Okay, a plausible explanation I've thought of is that we all had very active imaginations, and we all sort of had some sort of mass hysteria event. Not so much hysteria, but we all of our imaginations saw something similar based off something else, like the shadows or something you said.
Yeah, I think that's extremely reasonable. That kind of thing. Plus, like when you're goading each other, I went on this. Did I tell this story? I went on a haunted tour in New Orleans a few years ago, and we stopped at this park where stuff was allegedly haunted, and the tour guide was like, yeah, you guys should take pictures because you sometimes people get stuff on camera, and people were taking pictures, and they would go up to the tour guide and they're like, look, I got an orb and stuff, and the tour guide would be like, oh yeah, that's probably a ghost and stuff. Like absolutely just like filling in people's gaps in their imaginations for stuff. Like sometimes when you're both like getting into that, like that, you can definitely hype each other up into thinking that something is happening when it's really not. So that I think that's definitely a plausible explanation for what's happening here.
Right, and in those experiences as well, one person may think they see something, and their friend may go, "Oh yeah, I saw that too," because they just don't want to be left out. Yeah. And if there's more than two of you, the third person will really not want to be the only person that didn't see something. So they'll also go, "Oh yeah, I think I saw that too." So, people are strange people, It's
true.
It's very true. And it could be, it's happened so long ago that the way I remember it is that we all saw it at the same time. But that could just be my memory messing with me, and someone saw it first and the rest of us saw it after that or something like that.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
There are tons of explanations for things, and sometimes it is good to just take a step back and go, what could this have been? I spent a long time, a massive part of my life being terrified of the dark, and I couldn't be in a room without a light being on, and going from room to room, I had to turn a light on, go back and turn the light off because I was just so fearful of what was there. And slowly over time, I started, if I thought something had happened, I would just say, now what could the most rational explanation for that be? And I slowly got past the fear of being in the dark. So, that it could be a similar situation here where, you had an experience and you've just thought about it more, and as you've gone on, it's just got worse and worse and worse, and you haven't taken a step back and gone, what could the rational explanation for this be?
Yeah.
Okay, thank you. Yeah, I will do that because that's how I was raised very strictly religious, and that's how I broke from the faith, was just what could logic say about this if I actually think about it?
And there's a lot to be said for people that you trust as well. Like, I would have an experience of something and I would go to my mother at the time because she was a person that I could talk to about these sorts of things. And she'd say, well, you know what that was? That was that you saw a ghost or you had a supernatural experience. And because it's a person you trust, you go, oh, yeah, of course that's what it was. So, you're well within your rights to believe what you believe because that's what you've been taught to believe. But it is a good idea to do take the step back and just have a little question.
It's true. I think we got this case solved in the bag here, John. What do you think? I think we Scooby-Dooed this thing.
You need Sherlock Holmes.
Yeah, I think we got it down. Allison, are you satisfied with this call? Are you satisfied with these responses?
Yes, I am. It was very informative.
Awesome. Great. Well, great talking to you, Allison. I wish you well. And now hopefully maybe you got at least a little bit more peace on that. Because I think we all have had experiences in our life where it's like, what happened there? I had a friend who tells me a story about the story I've heard where they thought it was early morning and it was really foggy out. And they thought they saw like some sort of shambling monster in the fog and they ran away. And then I was like, what do you think it was now? I was like, it was probably just somebody with their dog. Yeah, that probably makes sense.
Yeah.
So, a couple different ways to look at that there.
Yeah, absolutely. Sure. I'm still not against the person on stilts because I would do that to my friends.
Do you remember a couple of years ago, like when people were driving around and there was people like dressed as clowns, just like out in the dark. I'm telling you, people fuck with people. It's just a thing.
Because people are people. That's
you want to know another story I learned from this Wikipedia article, sort of like a little website? Oh, here's one I found. I just brought it up again. It's called Le Loyon, also known as the Ghost of Malls. It's an urban legend where supposedly a humanoid figure was said to roam around the forest near Malls in Switzerland. And it's just like a guy with a gas mask and a boiler suit. Just walking around. Now, here's the best part of the story, John, is that in 2013, a Swiss French language newspaper, Le Matin, published the first known photograph of Le Lion taken by an unnamed amateur photographer. After the photo began to circulate, Le Matin reported that Le Lion's cloak and gas mask were supposedly found in the Mall's forest, along with a note written by Le Lion titled Death Certificate and Testament of the Ghost of Malnez. So, and then nobody ever heard from this ghost ever again. Yeah.
They should have analyzed the handwriting. They could have traced the person.
Right, exactly. Right. But that would be terrifying, actually. Out of all the monster combinations, I think a dude in a boiler suit and a gas mask is somehow more scary than like
give that dude monster. A chainsaw. I'm out of there. Yeah. That's it. I'm done.
It's oh man, I want to give a quick shout out to our crew who help make this show happen every single week. Maybe if we can get a crew cam on the screen real quick. We got one crew member on screen right now. Where's the rest of the crew? Where they at? I guess they're not ready. They didn't want to be on camera just now. That's fine. But we do have more than one person behind the scenes. I promise you that. Okay. Also, Kelly is here too. I don't know if we can get a quick shot of Kelly because we need to show off that beautiful tie.
Yeah,
if we can. There it is. Hey. Look at that tie. It's a fashionable tie, Kelly. Good job. Good job picking up that tie. Anyway, thanks everybody. We will be doing we'll be hanging out in the Discord in the after show afterwards. Kelly, myself, and John. So if you're watching live, come check that out. Let me get to some super chats too, because Chris telling me I'm missing the super chats, and they're probably right. This feed, I'm not used to this feed, and I got to figure out. Gotta scroll back here and find the and it's now I'm just talking. Maybe if the crew can help me go find them and then I can go back to them, that would be great. Kind of hard to host a show and do that kind of thing. Oh, there we go. Look at that. Got one on screen from Phil Honig, who said, as an English word, you pluralize octopus by putting an S at the end. If you want to acknowledge its classical roots, the word came from ancient Greek, which would pluralize it as octopuses. Really? That's crazy. I didn't see how much they donated there, but thank you so much.
That was a 10. That was a 10. I was on it. Yeah.
$10. Thank you so much for that. But octopi suggests that you think octopus is a Latin word just because it ends in us. What are they teaching the young people these days? Listen, all words are bullshit. Okay. So don't get me started on that rant. Okay. We changed that stuff between the Greek and the Latin all the time. That doesn't matter. There's a million other words we can point to. It's all about what sounds nice. Okay. 10, and another 10. That was a different $10 donation. Wow, thank you so much, Phil. But he really had a beef with us on the octopi situation. I'm gonna say octopi anyway.
Wow, so I'm gonna say octopuses.
Maybe I should say in honor of Phil. For his donation. That would be kind of nice. Tell you what, if the situation arises where octopuses come up in the conversation, I'll try my best to remember. And then we can go from there.
Fine.
But no promises on that front. Okay, so we got another call. We got Ben calling in from Virginia. We're just talking about some stories today, I guess. Ben says he has a story about a friend who had contact with an angel. Ben, you're live on Truth Wanted. What's going on?
Hey, Dan. Hey, John. How you guys doing?
Hey, doing
good. What's the story you got for us?
Okay. Here's a story. Now, I was at a social event, like a party with a lot of people, and there's a guy who is very stable as far as I know. He's a sensible person. Said to me that he had contact with an angel, and I said, really? He said, yeah. He said, my daughter was really sick in the hospital, and I was upset. I pulled up into a small variety store, like a 7-Eleven or Store 24, one of those convenience stores. And he said, I pulled up and somebody knocked on my window, and I rolled the window down, and it was a like a vagabond, like a wino, like a guy who was, you know, and he was all sort of, he wasn't dressed very well. He looked shabby clothing and whatnot. And he said, "Do you have any change?" And the guy had some change in his dashboard. He reached over and he said, "Yeah, here." And the guy said to him, "Your daughter's going to be okay." And then he walked away.
Oh, no.
And the guy said, he thought to himself, he was, "What?" And so he watched the man go into the store. So he immediately went in after him to find out, like, what the comment was about. And he couldn't find him. And he said, he like looked everywhere. He says, "This guy couldn't have disappeared. I went outside and looked in the parking lot." He goes, "He was nowhere to be found." So he said, sometimes, angels will disguise themselves like in different identities, whatever. And
oh, man.
He's convinced of it. Like these people, and he always tells them that story. So I thought it was rather interesting that an angel would disguise themselves like a bum or a person of, all shabby clothing and whatnot. So, have you ever heard anything like that? Like angels, like taking on different identities?
Well, in the Bible, in the gospel accounts, according to, gosh, I can't remember which one. I think Matthew specifically says that one of the angels is like dressed up as a gardener. But no, wait, it's Jesus. I'm sorry. It's Jesus that's dressed up as a gardener. But then there's angels that are just kind of dressed up like people, but they didn't realize that they're angels at first. There's different conflicting narratives of the gospel, but like that's not, I think the basis for that kind of myth about angels does come from the gospels, which is interesting, specifically from the resurrection accounts where angels were supposedly like wearing plain clothes and in disguise. Also happened in the story of Lot, where, the angels kind of come into Sodom and were also supposed to be like regular people, but the people didn't know they were angels. But also maybe they did. That story is also very confusing. Angels in general are just very confusing, John. I don't really get it.
No,
I'm not an expert on angelology, but it seems pretty too advanced.
Is that the study of angels, angelology?
It is.
I like it. It should be.
It should be.
Yeah, I like it.
I don't know.
So, what was the sentence that the man said? Because I missed that bit.
He said, "Your daughter's going to be okay," is what I heard.
Yeah, he was in the hospital. He was like very concerned. He was, he had just gotten off the phone and he was sitting there. He said, "I was really, at my wit's end. I was really sad." And then the man tapped on the window. I rolled it down. He goes, "Yeah, what?" He goes, "Do you have any change?" He goes, he said, "Just hand him the change to sort of get rid of him." And then he's turned to say to me, "Your daughter's going to be okay." And he went, that's the story.
Wow.
The funny thing about it, I was listening to George Carlin one time, and he had some sort of statistic like, I want to say like 80% of the people in America believe in angels. And in his response, I don't know if you ever saw the show, his response was, "What are you, fucking stupid?"
Well, that's one way of responding to that, I guess.
I just want to, when people call through a car phone, right, and it connects to the audio in a car, right? Mm-hmm. My wife is always on the phone and she comes back and parks in the garage, but she's still on the phone and the phone's connected to the car. I don't think people realize when you're in the car that everybody outside the car, especially when it's stationary, can hear the person on the phone.
Yeah,
you can hear that side of the conversation. So, perhaps this man, before he heard asked for some money, heard the conversation or heard that side of the conversation about the person, the daughter in the hospital. And so maybe that could be where that information came from and why it was so specific. Because I've said to people, don't say anything you don't want to be heard because I'm on the car phone and I'm parked up right now. So,
Yeah, that's where my brain went to too. If they were just on the phone, like you can definitely hear conversations through
the other person
outside of the car. Yeah. So that's what I would say. But also a little bit of cold reading could be done there too, right? I mean,
the story kind of grows.
Right.
Yeah. Like if it, John knows this better than anybody, but if you can type somebody of being a certain age, maybe probably has some kids, right? You just saying, "Hey, your daughter's going to be okay." I mean, parents are always worried about their kids, right? That's an easy thing you could say to somebody on the street, and
it could even have been not even your daughter. It could have just said your family's going to be okay. Yeah. And because you're going through something that specifically involves your daughter, you're automatically
you're at a hospital setting as well.
Yeah.
You know. And if it's somebody who happens to be transient, right, and is around the area, they probably talk to a lot of people who are going through some stuff because they're at a hospital, right? So, you know, nobody's having a good time at a hospital usually.
No, he wasn't in the hospital. He was in a parking lot.
The parking lot outside the hospital, though?
No. No, he was in a convenience store.
Oh, okay.
Okay. Well, maybe didn't catch that part, but I think all of our other theories are still pretty good.
Right. So, yeah.
You know,
maybe he wasn't on the phone in his car and he could have heard him. That makes sense. There seems to be an explanation for these things.
Yeah.
I think
like we keep saying, just take a step back and just think about it. Yeah.
It's true. It's true. Ben, I'm assuming you don't believe this story to be true, considering your George Carlin quote there.
No, I don't. But he's convinced of it. And you know something, in a sense, I wouldn't even want to tell him I didn't believe it because he's so into the story.
Right.
Yeah.
So into it. So,
yeah.
Anyway, no, I don't believe it. I'm a skeptic by nature, you know. And,
there is a concern there because, you know, that's a story that probably, if he's telling it to you the way that you're describing it, probably gives him hope in some way, right? That's something to be, I don't know, concerned about, I think. Some people in our community are like, no, just fuck it, tear it all down. George Carlin is one of those people, right? Who is just like, you know, screw it, this is all dumb. And there is something to that, but at the same time, nobody loses all of their beliefs in a day. And it's one thing if you've never believed. It's another thing if you did believe and you've lost that belief. For most people, your perspective, I think, is going to be very different, right? Because it's not, again, just as it's usually not something that happens in a day. It's something that happens over a course of a life. And that can change you in very significant ways. So I think sometimes there's a reverence to be had there, but not because I think the belief is worth respecting, but because the person there is worth respecting, right? So I don't know, Ben. There's something to say about that, but that's all I got. What do you think, John?
I feel like your friends should call in and tell the story from their perspective, because it's always different when it's the actual person telling the story. Because I mean, you did a great job, Ben, but you may have missed some details which might sway it one way or the other. So it'd be a good idea for your friend to call in.
True.
Well, you know, the only thing about that is he's a Christian, and I think he's not a big fan of atheists. As a matter of fact, I never.
Even better.
Well, he's never met us, has he?
Yeah,
Come on, huh?
That's the best reason to call in.
Yeah.
I'm originally from Boston, but I live down here in Virginia, and I live close to the West Virginia border. And and everybody believes in. They're all like 99% people are Christian.
Here's what I want you to do, Ben.
Low profile.
I totally get that. So here's how you get around this. You tell your friend, you say, hey, I just talked to this guy, John, and he just like insulted, he just called you stupid. He was so belittling to you. You should call him up and tell him what's good. And then the number would be the number to the show. And then he can call in and then he can fight John live on the air. And I'd love to see that.
Oh, man. Thanks for throwing me in the deep end.
Yeah. Well, it would be you, I think. I think you would be.
Yeah, that's
the one to take that. But anyway, I don't know. Ben, thanks so much for calling though and telling us about that. But no, seriously, if you feel like you got to keep a low profile about this stuff, hey, let us do the dirty work. Tell people to call into our show. We'll definitely talk to them. I won't hold back. At least maybe John will.
But I'm British. That's just my way.
It's true. It's true. He'll start walking away on those stilts, and then we'll never be able to catch him.
I'll be in a forest scaring my friends.
Exactly. Yeah, exactly. Ben, thanks so much for the call, and have a great rest of your weekend. And happy Father's Day. Did I say that already? Happy Father's Day to all the fathers. I think I did say that.
You did, but you can't say it enough.
You can't say it enough.
No.
You know who we don't thank enough in this country? White men.
Yeah, right.
I don't know why I said white in that moment. I should have just said men, but we need to thank more men.
I feel you're justified for various reasons.
Yeah.
Even if it was sarcastic.
Yeah, of course. We don't have enough days dedicated to men and their accomplishments.
That's right.
This is my hard turn into a red pill. This becomes like a red pill advice show.
Well, it was nice hanging out with you.
Oh man, that'd be so sad. But and then people would try to call me and they try to convince me to come back and stuff. It'd be a really sad little arc there. Good thing that's not real. So.
Well, you say that, but I don't know.
You don't know. You don't
well,
trust
just
that.
After that little moment, I'm like, questionable now.
Oh no, please. And now if I could have said, I said celebrate Mother's Day too, but I didn't. I don't think I did. So now I don't have any anything to back myself up in this corner here. I'm just gonna move on instead. Hey, let's listen to a voicemail. Crew, do we have any voicemails? If we could maybe pop some of that or screenshots as well. I would love to see. I know Crew is always saying, hey, we got
out.
Stuff.
Yes.
Oh, here we
the
go.
mind-only school of the Shaolin. I want to tell you what made it so special. It wasn't the kung fu. It was the different fights you have to fight, keeping your sanity in the society. Your organs control your mind. That's why they call it the mind-only school. Through Chinese herbs, you can
this is some robocall.
The leather bag, the burning house, the bird cage. You can change your body for better health and to feel better in your mind. But look at all the people that turn to drugs and turn to pharmaceuticals. This is one of the mysteries of the earth, is the Chinese herbal tea to make your body feel one with the universe. Oh my God, that's a real voicemail we got. That's crazy. What
just
the heck
happened?
Dang, Crew, you gotta give me some warning next time. That was scary for a second there. I thought we were. I mean, geez, wow.
I don't even know where would you start with that?
I don't know. What's in that tea? That's what I want to know.
I want some of what he's drinking.
It's gonna keep you off the drugs. Which ones?
Yeah, that's fair.
That's the first question.
Not ADHD medication. You need
no. Yeah. not my medication, please. But yeah, I guess if I have some sort of crippling drug addiction, sure.
Just drink your herbal tea.
You drink your herbal tea. That's what the Chinese always knew how to combat fentanyl. It was always through herbal tea.
My mother's spirit guide was Chinese.
Yeah, Sun Tzu wrote about that, I think.
Wow.
Wait, really?
Oh. Yeah,
spirit guide was Chinese.
Yeah, the picture that haunted me for years of my life was of a man from at least that part of Asia around. She was told Chinese. Yeah.
Well, that's very specific.
I know.
What? That's so random. Why did she? So she just had a picture of a random Chinese guy
drawn for her. The medium, the artistic medium, drew this picture of her guide as she's asking questions. That's how it came about. It was a chalk picture framed on the wall that terrified me because that was the guy that I'd seen walking through the door. Yeah.
And that's why you're racist towards Asian people to this
Exactly why. Yeah.
I'm giving John such a hard time today, only because John, I know he can take it. Listen, you guys should check out more of John's personal channel if you haven't, because he is very funny on that.
You don't need to do that.
I'm plugging for you today. Okay, that's what's happening. I think Crew also says we have a screenshot as well that we should put on the screen. So Crew, if you can, put that thing up there. Okay, here we go. So so I gotta give context for the listeners at home, because this is we do shorts on the channel, so always the best pictures of me on there apparently.
I will say before you go on that your eyebrows in that picture do look amazing.
Oh, thank you. Wow,
They do look good.
That's very nice. I don't know if it's pretty much all you can see out of the features of my face there, and also the beard. I don't know what the context of this was, but it says he was only quoting the Bible. The fool hath said in his heart. I think we've seen this screenshot before, actually. This is we do get some of these a lot, these kinds of comments, but this says, he was only quoting the Bible. The fool hath said in his heart, there is no God. They are corrupt. They have done abominable works. There is none that doeth good. Psalm 14:1. It doesn't matter how long you went to college, how well you were trained to believe there is no God. The Bible says you are foolish. I
always have a problem with that quote, because if people are using their heart to make decisions when you have a perfectly good brain, then you're doing it wrong. If your heart is telling you something, maybe go and see a doctor.
That's a good point. My first thought with that too, John, is the whole point of being a Christian, at least a big part of it, depending on who you ask, is you're supposed to spread the gospel to unbelievers. Right. So it seems like, okay, they don't believe it. Oh, well, they're just fools in their heart. Right. Versus just, oh, well, you believe it. Oh, well, obviously you're smart. Like you're one of the good ones, essentially, is the mindset there. But I don't think a lot of Christians even conceptualize it that way, because just in America, at least, most people you talk to on a day-to-day, even in 2024, is still Christian on some level. So like the thought of even evangelizing isn't even on the radar there. It's just I don't know. It's just used to discriminate against non-Christians.
On a serious note, if you're feeling things in your heart, please go and see a GP.
Yes,
please.
That's true. That's very much true. But as many people point out, you can say this about pretty much anything. There are people today, for example, that still believe David Koresh, as speaks to them in visions and experiences, that still live out on the compound. Do you know this?
What?
That's the thing.
No.
Yeah.
No.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, because this is why I love coming on with you, because you just throw some extra things, and I'm like, oh wow, I never knew that. I feel so dumb until I talk to you. I'm like, oh man.
Was neighbors? Well, I say neighbors. They live a couple streets over, with somebody who is still a member of the church, and they're still active. They're still out there.
Oh,
yeah. Because David Koresh is supposed to come back.
Okay.
And they're waiting on that. Sound familiar, John?
Yeah, I saw a meme which I shared with my wife. Yeah. Where there's a pope and an alien, and they're shaking hands, and then the pope says, "Oh, have you heard of this man called Jesus?" And the aliens are like, "Yeah, Jesus comes and visits us every 2 or 3 years." And the pope's like, "Wait, what? We've been waiting 2,000 years. What?" And the aliens are like, "Well, yeah, maybe he just doesn't like your chocolate." And the pope goes, "What? Chocolate?" It's like, yeah, when he first came to us, we gave him chocolate. What did you do the first time he came to you? And then, that's the end. That's a great meme. It just made me think of that.
That's a really good joke. You were also, so we were doing audio checks, and you had a really funny joke. Can you talk? No, you don't want to do that joke?
Okay. I shall. Yeah, fine. Okay, so there's three nuns. This is a great way to end a show, by the way.
Please
there are 3 nuns, and they're all in a car accident, and it's unfortunate they all pass away. But because they're nuns, they go to heaven. And so they go up to heaven, and at the pearly gates, obviously, is St. Peter. And St. Peter stands there and says, "Ladies, you've all done fantastic things. Of course you can come in on one condition. You all just have to answer a question, just to make sure you are paying attention during your life with God." And so the first nun steps up, and St. Peter says, "You're allowed in if you can tell me the name of the first man." And the nun says, "Whew, that's easy. Adam." And St. Peter says, "Yes, you're in. Go on." The second nun sees this and is like, "Okay, I think I've got this." Walks up. St. Peter says, "What was the name of the land that God created?" And the second nun says, "Oh, that's easy. Eden." And St. Peter says, "Yep, you're in. Get in." The third nun's like, "Well, I'm in. I'm in for sure." Walks up, and St. Peter says, "Okay, what was the very first thing that Eve said to Adam?" And the nun says, "Oh, that's a hard one." And St. Peter says, "Yep, you're in." I'm so sorry.
There it is. That classic British humor.
There you go.
Very, very dry. Very, very good. No, it's
actually from a TV show in the UK, but because it hasn't made it over here, I'm claiming it as my own.
There you go. That's how the internet works. You can just say, "This is mine now," and Yeah, it's how it goes. So I do have some super chats. I'm trying to get to them here. Here we go. First one, $9.99 from Asayaki, who said Happy Pride, and then left a bunch of flags in there saying thanks for being a supportive community. Abso-fucking-lutely. Happy Pride. Happy Pride to everybody. LGBT plus. We're all about it. So
I'm actually going to a Pride event tomorrow.
Heck yeah.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Come on.
Ben9 Lives also gave $9.99, said, thanks for taking my call earlier. Ben from Virginia. Thank you, Ben, for deciding to donate.
Hang on. Ben9 Lives?
It could be 9 lives or lives.
I think 9 lives, like cats have 9 lives. Ben also has 9 lives, maybe. I don't know.
Yeah, or maybe there's a guy. Yeah, you're probably right. That's probably what it is. You know what I was thinking of? Ben 10. Do you know Ben 10? The show? That's what made me think about.
Kim Possible. That's not the same. Never mind.
Kim Possible's not the same, but also a very good show.
Yeah.
Again, it's all about the movies and TV shows today.
What's happened today?
I don't know. I don't know why we kept getting into all that. But look, we are going to be going to the after show in just a second. I think we should start moseying our way over there. But the prompt this week is name a time autocorrect screwed you over. So comment on the video and we may read your answer for next week. But if you want to get to the Discord, tiny.cc/ACD Discord, or if you're in the chat right now, I'm sure people are posting some links to that. I want to give a special shout out again to Kelly for helping out tonight. Thank you so much, Kelly. He's there he is. Whoa, on that screen, rocking the awesome tie. And we'll be all hanging out together in just a second. So come join us for that. And John, thanks so much for being on with me, man.
Thanks for having me. It's been so long since we've hung out.
It's really been a minute. It's been a minute. I want to give a chance for you to plug your stuff, John. Where can people find you if they want to find you outside the ACA?
I'm just a British floating circle, the Skeptick on all the social medias, and I do a video once a week and just poke fun at stuff. We have a fun time being atheists on my channel. That's all it is.
Just godless heathens living their best lives.
That's it.
Living their truth, right?
Yeah.
That's what it's all about. All right. We're going to be going to that stuff. Oh, words of wisdom. Yeah, words of wisdom this week, John.
Have I ever got words of wisdom? No. Just sleep. Put a sleep mask on and get a good night's sleep.
Ooh, I like that one. That's some good wisdom. All right, everybody. Put a sleep mask on and get some sleep. Remember to always keep wanting the truth. And I'll see you next time.
Watch the non-profits and join the hosts in the live chat. Visit tiny.cc/YTNP.